And so I'm going to turn first to my good friend from Texas, Michael Cloud.
Well, thank you, Mr. Roy. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time and reserving the time to speak on this. I cannot imagine a more important topic for us right now in this nation. Mr. Speaker, we are unique in history in that our nation rests on the understanding that our inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they're not a grant from this government, they are a gift from Almighty God. And among these, enshrined in our First Amendment, is the freedom of speech, the most essential freedom, along with the freedom of religion. The peace and tranquility of our entire republic is based on the understanding that we have a right to have our voice heard, that we have a right to have peaceful public discourse and dissent. That's how we come up with good legislation. That's how we have good policy. That's how we avoid conflict and wars on our soil. But we have entered a most troubling time in our nation. This cancel culture has persisted, and it needs to stop. The unilateral march of legislation meant not to protect our liberties, but rather force the American people to conform to woke ideology in this House needs to stop. And then there's big tech. They've canceled conservatives while allowing for liberal members of this body to repeatedly call for unrest in our streets, raise money to bail out violent rioters, not to mention providing a platform for communist China, terrorist groups, and the like. This hypocrisy is not overlooked. Recently, traveling throughout my district the last couple of weeks, I came across a few immigrants in my community. I know them, but they came up to me concerned about what we're in, this point in our nation. See, some of us who are so privileged to be born in this country, where we have inherited these wonderful liberties, might not see the signs so readily as people who've come from Ecuador, Cuba, Iran. But these individuals came up to me because they're very concerned. They're concerned that they left this and now they're seeing it be rooted and established here in our nation. Ironically, the one from Iran was concerned because she was talking to me. She had liked a post about our taking out of Soleimani and got banned following that from Instagram. She knows firsthand what's going on in Iran. She's a first-generation immigrant. And I was troubled, especially when she looked at me and said, we have more freedom of speech in Iran at this moment, this is her opinion, than we do right here, right now. No one's trying to cancel people. You can speak freely against the government there. Now, I'm not saying Iran's a wonderful place to live. I'm thankful to be here in the United States of America, but we are headed down a troubling path. I remember it being in an event just a couple days ago, and it was before the election, and some lady was there, and she was talking to me about her motivation for being involved in the public discourse. And she came up to me and she said, I'm from Ecuador. I remember escaping. Her parents did not make it out, but she made it out. She didn't call it to the United States of America. She called it to freedom country. She said, we cannot lose freedom country. I am here to support this. I'm here to work. I'm here to do whatever I can because we cannot lose freedom country. And I'm here to stand up along with our colleagues because we cannot lose freedom country. It is extremely and essentially important that we in this House and people across the United States of America stand up in this hour at this time. Ronald Reagan once said, and I've said this before to many people, encouraging them how important it is to get involved in the process and also to thank our veterans. It says, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. I've thought about that quote, but there's another part of it that's resonated with me even more and more in this time, and it's the last part. It says, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was like once to live in the United States where men were free. God forbid that we continue down this path and reach that point where we have to tell our kids and grandkids about what it was once like to live in the beloved United States where men were free. Thank you for setting aside this time. I cannot imagine a more important topic.